Okay, I think I've got the camera positioned where I want it, and as I suspected, just while getting this set up, these pups all started collecting around my feet and going to sleep. We got Black and Red falling asleep over here. Red is using Black for a chew toy at the moment. Siblings never pester siblings, do they? Never, never. So we've got dark pink, blue, purple, gray, yellow, light pink, Black trying to go to sleep, Red pestering. We got Mr. Green looking for the crowd, and he's trying to lay down. So we'll just start the video here. I'll try to get this positioned. Disregard the little furry on the side of my face. That's just the wireless microphone. And I think if I hold the puppies here, I try to make it so there's not a backlight shadow casting right on the puppies where you can't see their faces or something. So I think I've got the lighting where I want it. So we're going to start with the girls. We've got Miss Purple here, and so this is Miss Purple. She was 0.97 pounds at birth, and she is 6.4 pounds. So right now, Miss Purple is the biggest of the girls from this litter. At 6.4 pounds, that's the top end of the range of what we would consider average for this age of a pup. We expect pups at 5 weeks old to be average is 4.5 pounds to about 6.5 pounds. And pretty much all these pups fall right close to that normal average range. Miss Purple's the largest of the females. We noticed at birth she had a little polka dot on her chest. I can barely see that right now. There's just a few light hairs. So as these pups grow, it's like their coat density changes, because it's like their skin surface area grows, but their hair follicle density does not. So they get really light density fur. It's very soft. It's a very soft coat. But we lose some of the definition of their markings with this coat density. So you may not see some of the markings that we noticed at birth, but they're there. They'll come back with their adult coat. So we're not really seeing any new markings on toes. Sometimes their toes we'll see new markings on, because their toe hairs start to grow for their adult coat, and we'll see some of those. But I can't hardly see the polka dot pattern that we noticed on her litter introductory video earlier. Can't hardly notice that. So that's Miss Purple, and I'm going to, let's see, I can't hardly tell if it's still recording. Okay, on to Miss Yellow here. So Miss Yellow is next up for us, and they're all just asleep by my feet here. So Miss Yellow at birth was 0.92 pounds. Right now she's 5.6 pounds. So she is third place of the girls in this litter as far as size goes. And so second to smallest out of the girls. But she had the frosted chest marking. I can see a few of her lightly colored hairs from that. And then she also has the really fun boldly marked back toes. So her 3 inside toes are boldly marked, almost symmetrically. So that's kind of fun to see from her. So Miss Yellow here, personality wise, she has one of the more assertive personalities, a little bit more confident than some of her siblings. But these girls, they're pretty close to neck and neck. So personality wise, I'm just giving Miss Yellow kind of top of the totem pole out of the girls, simply because she is one of the ones that will be a little bit more of an investigator with something new. She's one of the first ones to demonstrate comfort and will go investigate something new. So when pups are experiencing something new, it's not uncommon for them to startle or retreat or something like that. Some of the pups choose to just be a spectator and let the other pups go, settle the question as to if it's safe or not. Other pups are the investigators that go and lead out first. So Miss Yellow has shown on several different occasions a pretty consistent tendency for her to be a little bit more comfortable and confident to be an investigator instead of a spectator, and not really one to retreat. So that is Miss Yellow. And despite her size, she does like to throw her weight around a little bit. She can't necessarily get away with it all the time with her brothers, but she holds her own with some of the wrestling matches. So that's Miss Yellow. Next, we've got Little Light Pink, and she is down and asleep right here at my toes. I've just got all these pups snoozing away right here at my feet. They self-collected themselves. I didn't have to draw them in at all. So Miss Light Pink, if you recall, at birth, she was the little one, like half the size of her litter mates at 0.48 pounds. And today she is 4.47 pounds. And so she is right there at the range of normal, but small for normal, despite her very small upbringing, start to life. So we did give her a lot of preference early on with nursing to make sure that her siblings didn't just take advantage of her size and just push her out of the way. She wasn't as big, as strong as her siblings. So we made sure that she had plenty of chances for nursing opportunities and gave her preference that way. We never did have to supplement feed her or anything like that. And we're just very pleased with how well she has grown despite her very small start to life. So Miss Light Pink, she had no markings on her chest, otherwise clear as far as markings go, but had the very lightly frosted groin area and very lightly frosted back toes. I doubt the camera's even gonna pick some of that up, but if you look close enough, you can see a few light hairs on her toes. So she's otherwise an unmarked pup, besides those very lightly marked areas. And totem pole, she's kind of the bottom of the totem pole out of the pups, just simply because of her size. Not because of her personality though. She still shows a fair amount of confidence and comfort level with wrestling matches and holding her own, even though she can't always win every time. She does like to still wrestle and play rough, and she doesn't just let the others steamroll over her because of her smaller stature. So still a fun personality, has a good amount of energy and drive to her. Happy, fun, bouncy pup, despite her sleepy nature at the moment, So that is Miss Light Pink. Next, we got our bigger sister here, Dark Pink, coming up. And so Dark Pink was 0.9 pounds. Right now, she's 6.08. So she's number 2 on the list for size-wise, and out of the girls anyways. And then we noticed at birth that she had kind of that slightly marked pearl necklace area on her neck. Honestly, I'm having a hard time discerning that definitive marking. The neck fur area is one of those light density areas of their coat at this time, so I can't hardly see that. She did have the 4 dots on her chest. I can still see the more vibrant ones of those right now The less vibrant ones of those are a little bit harder to see, but she'll definitely have those with her adult coat coming in. And then she was slightly marked on her groin. I don't really see much right there as far as that goes. Nothing new on her toes. So dark pink, she's right there neck and neck with personality with purple and yellow. Maybe a little bit slightly more reserved than purple, but very close personality wise with purple, and assertiveness, comfort levels, confidence, those types of things, energy levels, pretty close to Miss Purple. So middle of the road pup for dark pink. So that wraps up the girls on this segment. Next we're on to the boys, and we've got Black coming up first. We're gonna start with him. So we've got Mr. Black here. At birth he was 0.94 pounds. Right now he's 6.85. So we have 3 of these boys that are very, very close in size. Black being one of them at 6.85. Honestly, the difference in their weight when we measured that might have just been who went potty last and who had a few more bites to eat at their last meal. So Mr. Black, he had kind of the neck bow tie marking, and if I look close, I can see some hints of that marking despite the lighter density of the coat. He also had kind of the chest marking. I can see some of that, and across kind of some of the armpits area, I can see some of that. So he had a marked groin. I can see that pretty clearly with him. And then the lightly frosted toes, those are very lightly frosted. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up that very easy. So Mr. Black, he is a middle of the road pup as far as confidence levels. So we've got black and we've got red and gray of these boys that it's hard for me to pick out of these boys kind of a top of the totem pole out of these guys. So between black, red, and gray, they are so close to the same. It's hard to put one above the other right now. They're all very even. Not one has kind of picked the top leader role in their pack, in their hierarchy, and so I wish I could put one above the others, but I just can't at the moment. I haven't seen enough consistency between that to pick one at the top out of the boys. So Mr. Black, he's right there tied in the Three Musketeers position with black, red, and gray. So that's Mr. Black. Next we got Mr. Blue. So he's up next. So Mr. Blue here. So Mr. Blue, he's at 6.72 pounds. At birth he was 0.81. And so right now Mr. Blue, he's right up there size-wise with the top 3 weights. And so he had the chest marking across there. You can still see that. If you look, it's kind of across both sides of the calic there. And he had the groin marking. I can see that. That's still noticeably defined. He had the fun back toes marked, heavily marked back right foot, and then the back left he's got one toe that's heavily marked and some frosted other toes. So Mr. Blue, he is what I'm gonna call the low guy on the totem pole. So blue and green both are kind of at the lower side of the spectrum as far as their hierarchy goes. Blue is the last to rejoin the pack, the pups, he's the last to investigate. So if there's something new that he's not comfortable with, he will rejoin the group. It just takes him a minute. He'll stand back and be a spectator the longest if there's something new. He'll let the litter mates out, figure things out, demonstrate safety before he shows his comfort levels with investigating and things like that. So I'm going to call him last on the totem pole. He's one of the more mild, laid back as far as confidence levels on the pups side of things. But it's not to say that he's necessarily a scaredy cat or super anxious. As you can see with his play today, he's warmed up very well to this environment for his second visit and things like that. So he still demonstrates some confidence and comfort. He's just one of the slower ones to do so in several scenarios that have played out. So that's Mr. Blue and his personality. Next we've got Mr. Red, and coming up here. So Mr. Red, he's 0.94 pounds at birth and currently 6.01. So not quite the smallest, but he's second to smallest out of the boys. And he had kind of the neck bow tie marking as well. And I'm not seeing a lot of that, but there is some indication. If I hold his skin right, it's right there. So his neck marking was a little more vibrant, and it is more noticeable even with this coat density, current coat condition. So he's got the marked chest there. That's fun, kind of goes across to the armpits with some dots areas there, and then his groin was marked, and I can see some of that. I think I'm just seeing one or two lightly colored hairs on his back toes, nothing on his front. So, and then Mr. Red, he was one of the overall darker pups of the litter, and you can still see that at this current time. So Mr. Green, where did you go? He is up and moving. There he is. Came back for a visit. Hello, Mr. Green. So Mr. Green was 0.97 pounds. He is currently 6.9 pounds. So he takes top of the totem pole as far as size out of these boys. And he had the lightly marked chest, and I can see some of those hairs across kind of the armpits area with that. He had his marked groin, and that's still fairly defined, more vibrant there. He had his marked back left foot. I can see that as well. Not super marked as much as some of the others, but definitely marked. And then I'm not seeing anything new on front paws. Green was, I think, one of the darkest. Right now, his coat color is looking pretty even with red as far as overall tone, but definitely one of the darker ones for sure. And then Green, he was also right there with Mr. Blue. I'm going to call him second on the totem pole as far as comfort level goes and confidence and things like that. He does like to throw his weight around with wrestling matches, but with initiating new environments and investigating new environments and things like that, he's one of the later ones to rejoin and investigate new things. So a little bit more laid back in the comfort range of things. So that is Mr. Green. And yeah, we're still going. So last we've got Mr. Gray, last but not least. He's still asleep right here with the group. So Mr. Gray, He was 0.97 pounds. Right now he's 5.84 pounds. So out of the boys, he's the smallest one out of this group. Still a normal and normal as far as an average size pup. He's not undersized for this age that we would expect. He had the kind of bow tie on his neck as well. I can see some of that marking. It's not super vibrant. He had the lightly marked chest with some dots there. I can see a hint of those. It's not super vibrant right now. He had the very lightly frosted back toes. Those are still evident there, and I'm not noticing any new marked front toes or anything like that. So Mr. Gray, along with, like I mentioned, Black and Red, are kind of middle of the road, trying to vie for top of the totem pole. If I had to just pin one of those three musketeers, I would say Gray is a little bit lower on the totem pole with his overall demonstration of some of his personality than Black and Red, but he's just right there as far as comfort level and confidence and things like that. So that wraps up the boys, and last but not least on all of these pups, and they're mostly all asleep. We've had a few wake up and walk around. Actually, they got up and went potty, and now they're coming back to hang out with their siblings. So you can see them playing. So Blue woke up. He's initiating a little bit of a wrestling match with Gray. He's feeling a little spicy after his little nap. But you can see, I think I've got a few shadows here. If I move my notebook, I think I have less shadows. You can see some of their coat differences, but they're pretty close. It's hard to pick a really light one, and even it's hard to pick some of the more darker ones at the moment. So we've got Green and Gray that are up exploring at the moment from the group, and then these other 7 here still hanging out and playing and taking a nap. So that will wrap up this part of the pick video for these pups. We're happy to answer questions about differences in dispositions with them. Hopefully this has given some added perspective about where they're at right now with their personalities and their growth and development. So thanks for watching.